Hello, everybody. I am really excited to be here today on JPAC's 50th anniversary. Hard to believe it's been 50 years. And I am the current JPAC treasurer. And we are here to award Lynn Bunim, who is sitting right here. Can everybody see her? The Earl Raab Award. Lynn has been a friend and mentor to me for a long time. And so I'm really happy that I'm getting to be up here today. The Raab Award honors a Californian who best exemplifies Mr. Raab's transformative communal activism and advocacy. And there is no more appropriate person to get this award than Lynn Bunim. And so I've now known Lynn a very long time, actually. We've served on many committees together. And Lynn has been the chair for most of those. And even knowing Lynn all of this time and having had many, many conversations with her and seen much of her impressive work, I was really shocked when, in prepping for this, I went to look at all of the other activities she's done. And I mean, it is like incredible, both from a professional standpoint, from a philanthropic standpoint, and really both from a Jewish standpoint and even other organizations. From a professional standpoint, I already knew that Lynn was very accomplished with her work at AT&T, leading their government affairs department and many other strategic areas. In the Jewish world, I've worked with Lynn a ton in Federation on a lot of different committees, but Lynn was chair of JVS, along with many other committees and many other Jewish organizations. But outside of that, I was looking at it, and she was either the chair or on the board of organizations like Coro, the San Francisco Chamber of Commerce, the YMCA, the San Francisco Workforce Investment Board, Mount Zion Health Fund, San Francisco Day School, San Francisco Planning and Urban Renewal Committee, Mayor's Fiscal Advisory Committee, and the list just goes on and on and on. I mean, it's like amazing. Like, I don't know how she's able to do all these things. And in drooling over all of this amazing work, which I aspire to emulate someday myself, it hit home just how deserving Lynn is for this award. Based on her resume only, I think it's safe to say, like, community activist. I think there's just no question about that. But that's just the beginning. Showing up is just 3/4 of the work. And Earl Raab actually didn't just show up. He was at the JCRC for over 35 years. He had a fierce sense of justice and the keen ability to identify common ground and mold a united policy, as our beloved Rabbi Doug Hahn once said, which means not only has Lynn chaired all of these committees, but I think if you've been on a committee with Lynn and seen the work she's done, there's no question that she is one of the most effective people that I've ever known. And so taking a step back, like thinking about Lynn, the person outside of these amazing accomplishments, just her style, I think of the 4 Gs: grace, gratitude, gravitas, and get the work done. Has anyone ever been in a meeting with Lynn where she doesn't say, we've got 10 minutes left and this is going to be done before we leave? And by the way, none of her meetings ever run late. And gosh help the person who causes a meeting to be even a minute late. I always come away from every conversation or meeting with Lynn, as I think everybody does, just inspired by her ability to maintain her composure, like despite what's going on, the most challenging of situations. And she's still always so kind and appropriate with everybody there. And you can imagine some of these meetings, people aren't always so appropriate or nice. And so Lynn just has this really nice style. And I think in just getting ready for a situation, Lynn is always also so good at kind of level setting everybody on what it is we're talking about. Is it happy? Is it serious? What is the mode? And so I think that really helps, just convey the right spirit for getting things done. And I think, just to exemplify what she's done, in the last few years leading JPAC as chair, she took it through some pretty incredible times. So the pandemic, the ethnic studies debacle. Lynn was talking to every organization, every person in the whole Jewish community and even non-Jewish community about that issue. And then on a really kind of positive, optimistic side, the successful search for an executive director. And I think you can kind of see today David's work and the whole team is really just incredible. In addition to that, just converting the whole organization to be more of a full-time, fully funded, effective organization. And a lot of people either know or don't know, but Lynn had already finished her term as chair when she was asked to come back to chair the search committee and then also become the chair again for JPAC just as we went through this time. So we kind of asked for her help and doubled down again, and she just always says yes. And I think that's really amazing. Outside of this, and I mean, all of these things are just so incredible, but what's really even more amazing is that Lynn has an incredible family, and she's supported her family, raising them, supporting them, not compromising that at all. Her kids are now grown with their own children. I know she spends a lot of time. Like, I remember while we were going through the search committee, I was talking to her. She was at some vacation with her family who'd come in from all over the place, and we were talking for like an hour, and she's on vacation with her family, and I was just like, wow, it's really amazing that you can prioritize getting this done. And I am a single father, so I know balancing all of these things is really, really tough, and I don't do half of what Lynn does, so I aspire someday to be able to do that myself. So I want to say thank you, Lynn, and congratulations. I'm so thankful I've gotten to learn from you and work with you, and I hope to do it many more times. I can't think of a more deserving person for this award, and so I want to recognize you as the 2022 Earl Raab Award recipient. And it's so special that it's here on JPAC's 50th birthday. So congratulations, and please come up. Sorry, I didn't know where it was. Yeah.
I wish I could meet Lynn Bunim. I'm not sure. This is like too much. Jeff, you really, thank you so very, very much. I am Lynn Bunim. I am from San Francisco, and I did not have the privilege of knowing Earl Raab. But what I do know is that if it weren't for him and for his being a visionary, he was the first Jewish leader who recognized that the Capitol had a tremendous impact on Jews throughout the state of California. And he realized that the Jewish voice was silent. Can you believe that? I mean, you can't believe it, right? I mean, Jews are not silent, but he recognized that we were silent, particularly in the Capitol. He took action, as people have said. He created Jewish advocacy 50 years ago. I hope he's smiling as he looks down here today at a room here that's standing room only, as we get ready to do our advocacy, combating anti-Semitism and hate, and expanding services to the vulnerable in our community. Today, each one of us has an opportunity to honor Earl Raab's legacy. Here's how. When you go in just a few minutes and meet with the legislators and staffers, I urge you to speak with the same confidence that Earl Raab had. I urge you to explain, and you've heard this before, that we need their vote on our agenda and for their constituents. And you've heard again and again, make it personal. As you sit here, think about the personal stories that you might share this afternoon and make your case so that they can hear you. Before I go on, there are a couple of other Earl Raab awardees in the room. I'd like to ask Howard Walensky and Nancy Goldberg to stand. Howard got it in 2000, and Nancy's here as well. Not here with us, but I need to mention, because many of you know them, Geraldine Gelt and Cece Filer. They too received the Earl Raab Award, and it's their wisdom and support that were pivotal to my personal growth and success, along with the advice and counsel of Cliff Berg and Christina Gallagher. Cliff, we've gotten lots of accolades. You've got to be here in the room. There you go. Thank you so much. You taught me a lot about the bills that we were working on at the right time. My own advocacy journey began back at UC Berkeley in the 60s. I think we heard somebody allude to that before. Go Bears, go 60s, anybody from the 60s? Well, I guess I did sit on the sidelines of the free speech movement, but something must have rubbed off, and that something led me to Coro's leadership program. The skills, knowledge, and networks to accelerate positive change for me were learned at that time, and they became part of my DNA, as you heard, both in the professional world and in the civic community as well. How many of you here have used your voice to accelerate change before today? Okay, do you feel a lot of satisfaction from it? Did you get a little high? Okay, yes. Okay, for those of you who didn't raise your hands, let me see those who didn't raise your hands. Raise your hand now. Okay, never mind. I want to encourage you to find a buddy. And I'm looking at a lot of our young people here today. So find a buddy, pair up with one of us, and engage with those who've had some previous experience and begin your own lifelong journey. And through that journey, I encourage you to make new friends and new experiences and find new organizations. 30 years ago, one of my mentors, who joyfully is celebrating her 100th birthday today, and this is the only thing that would keep me away from being with her, taught me the power of saying yes, and particularly when it came to civic engagement. The combination of saying yes and working diligently to succeed in whatever role I occupied led me to leadership roles I never dreamt of. And I might add, they didn't come from my pocketbook. Several yeses led me to JPAC, and a few more led me to being the chair. Thank you to the JPAC e-board for placing your confidence in me to serve as your leader in a myriad of roles the past 5 years. And thank you to Julie Zeisler, our previous executive director, and Sarah Adibi. Sarah, I don't know if you're in the room or not. They worked tirelessly part-time during those years and were pivotal to JPAC's success while I served. As I reflect upon the last 5 years, JPAC definitely tested my abilities to build consensus and engage people. Among the consensus-building opportunities and challenges was that of selecting JPAC's first-time executive, full-time director, David Bocarsly. We were successful, to say the least, and I want to thank the search committee and the e-board for the untold meetings and open discussions you had, the disparate viewpoints that you entertained. David, where are you? Where? There you are. Will you flag that little book that everybody had in front of them today? You have lived up and exceeded all the expectations of us the past 4 months. And as you look at that book, I counted. There are 25 bios in that book. There are 86 meetings that you are going to, and there have been incomparable numbers of speakers. I want to say to David, I don't think when we offered you the job, we had any idea how big your Rolodex was, how popular you are in Sacramento, and how very much you are the right person to take JPAC into its next 50 years. Then it came down to building engagement. Engagement of the board members and their organizations reached a new level at JPAC as we tackled the ethnic studies model curriculum. I know we've said this over and over again, but again, I want to see a show of hands. How many of you here were engaged in that in one way or another? Okay, that's almost every hand. I'm not surprised by the show of hands, but I'm going to say that even though we have been working so hard, we are not yet done. As you know, we lobbied successfully for a bill to guarantee an ethnic studies curriculum that we thought, and it is, free of bias and bigotry and appropriate for all students. But we now know it's come down to the UC systems and it's coming to the school boards and the districts. There is an urgency to your voice being heard and your presence. Could I see all those under 40 raise your hands? Oh, whoa. Wow, I am blown away. I am totally blown away because it is you and your voice that we are going to get moving along. And Allison Gingold, who is our chair at the right time in the right place, is going to need all of your support as we go forward. So, as I say, it's playing out at the UC system and in local school districts. There's an urgency. Please, please say yes when you are asked. And lastly, begin to think about running for office yourself. Last night we heard in 2012, there were no state assembly members. There were 2 state senators. That's only 10 years ago. I'm looking at you right there, Adam. We need people like you who are going to stand up and begin to think about running for office. I'm not meaning to single you out, but there's lots of you in the room. You need to think about getting involved on commissions and school boards. We almost lost the ethnic studies model curriculum because buried in the State Board of Education was a little committee called the IQC, a new alphabet, Instructional Quality Committee. We did not have a single Jew on the committee, and it had been filled with our opponents. And it was only because the Jewish committee had learned to use its voice, and we had the caucus. At the very end, we had to go and be able to get that bill changed. And there was you all know the story. But my point is we cannot leave vacancies there. So if you've come to JPAC and to Advocacy Day and you've had a good day, and by the way, I have never seen the buzz that's been in this room the whole time. And I think it's something more than just you're happy to see each other after 3 years. I think we've all been touched by these times. I see somebody nodding over there. By these times and how fragile they are, and we're in a time that we never could have imagined. So go home, energized, get your friends and family, encourage them to join your journey, and become a leader. After all, if you say enough yeses, you might land up here someday getting the Earl Raab Award. Thank you all so very, very much.